In the words of Arthur Keith, the discovery of agriculture is the first big step towards civilization. Hello, I'm Rukewe Ekewenu and I welcome you to Agro On TV, the first of its kind agricultural program on television set to cultivate your minds and seeding in you the dignity Nigeria will attain again. We have various segments on this show. First is The Pulse, where we feed you with the latest news on the agriculture scene. We also have Talk Time, where we host stakeholders who bear their minds in everything agriculture. This will be followed by Street Vibes to gather your views and opinions on pressing agriculture issues. We are interested in you being entertained, so we bring you celebrity segments, which is Agro Style. Just sit back and relax as we feed you with the various dishes on Agro On TV.
Commodities Exchange.
We create lasting institutions. We support African farmers. We ensure food security and we improve Africa's overall global trade competitiveness. Who are we? We are FX Commodities Exchange Limited. We offer access to organized commodities trading, financing and hedging opportunities and warehouse storage while ensuring mitigation of risk and maximum trade efficiencies. For more enquiries, visit our office at 4th floor, Reverse House, Plot 83 Ralph Shode Street, Central Business District, Abuja, or call 090-300-01333 or 09-290-7413. Email contact us at afxnigeria.com. Afex, making agriculture work for you.
Finally, succor seems to be on the way for farmers as the federal government launches the Grain Alternative Policy. This and more are what we have for you on The Pulse today.
Strategies for resolving these challenges.
As part of its efforts to diversify the nation's economy, the federal government, in a determined move to boost agriculture, said efforts were being made to ensure that farmers secure financial assistance from the Bank of Agriculture at single-digit interest rates. Drawing a lesson from the Central Bank of Nigeria's Anchor Bora program, which has recorded huge success in local rice and wheat production through the provision of loans at single digits, Oshibajo said the current double-digit interest rate and reluctance by commercial banks to lend to agriculture is hindering the sector's development. Hence the need to develop alternative model for financing the sector in the short term.
The Ministry of Finance has practically concluded plans to recapitalize and re-engineer the Bank of Agriculture. We expect that before the end of this quarter, the Bank of Agriculture should be ready to give single-digit interest rate loans to farmers.
The provision of good seeds, small irrigation facilities for all year-round farming, the funding of viable investments and the provision of ready market for his or her produce, that is the farmer. We will do even better if the present gaps in fertilizer availability are closed and the peak demand of all Nigeria's cultivable land, estimated at nearly 12 million metric tons annually.
Stakeholders in the agricultural sector have stressed the need to improve the use of research in formulating agricultural policies and practices in Nigeria. Speaking at the Agricultural Policy Research Network Stakeholders Forum held in Abuja on August 10, 2016, Chairman of Nigerian Agricultural Policy Research Network, Professor Yusuf Abubakar, emphasized the need to establish actionable measures for enhancing the interface between agricultural research and users of research results. Yusuf, who spoke on the theme Making Agricultural Policy Research Work for End Users, challenged the private stakeholders and the federal government to collaborate for development. According to stakeholders present at the occasion, the need for adequate funding of agricultural research and the reassessment of a functioning system to identify missing elements should be second to nothing at the moment.
Government has the responsibility of creating an enabling environment that would cause the agricultural industry to thrive. One way to achieve this is through the formulation of appropriate policies that would guide operations within the sector.
there are still a number of challenges that AFREN needs to deal with in the coming years, including, of course, the need to broaden substantially its membership within Nigeria, actively seek for more partnerships and demonstrate concrete impact on the policy front in the area of the Nigerian agricultural sector. But I'm confident AFREN is now well positioned to rise to the challenge and move even to a higher plateau in the years to come as a dynamic, vibrant and influential network of researchers in the country.
Many agricultural programs in this country, as we all know, have failed in the past, and Nigeria was being over-pampered by the oil boom and so much dependence on oil as its source of revenue. We now have issues of food insecurity. There is acute hunger in Nigeria right now as we speak. And there is poor agribusiness productivities across various agricultural value chains.
Triton Group, a name associated with excellence in aquaculture and poultry production. Triton will deploy state-of-the-art technology, making us your one-stop shop for eggs and other poultry products, as well as catfish and tilapia. For inquiries, visit www.tritongroup.biz or our office at 49 Apapa Oshodi Expressway, Ijesha, Lagos, Nigeria. Triton Group, producing for Nigeria.
Triton.
I had a chat with Ayodeji Balogun, who is the country manager of Apex Commodities Exchange. Just sit back and enjoy the chat on Talk Time. You're welcome to Talk Time. On Talk Time today, I have with me a very wonderful, distinguished guest. I have with me Ayodeji Balogun, who is the country manager of Apex Commodities Exchange. Good to be with you, sir. I appreciate it. Okay, sir, we know you're the country manager of Apex Commodities Exchange, but can you tell us more about yourself and what you do?
Ayodeji Balogun, I'm a farmer, son of a farmer, so a second or third generation farmer. So he lives in the blood and he works with the DNA. I started business at age 13. That was my first transaction, and ever since then I've never looked back.
So as the country manager of Apex Commodities Exchange, what are the products and services your organization is offering?
A commodities exchange, the very classical definition, is a market where products, assets, which are typically either agricultural or mineral or energy commodity-based assets are traded. So you could be in the market to be a buyer, or a seller, or an investor, which sometimes could be a speculator. But in our own context, so Apex Commodities Exchange Limited is owned by Africa Exchange Holdings, which is a Pan-African investment company and has Apex Commodities Exchange in Nigeria, but also fully owns the East Africa Exchange that operates out of Rwanda, but is a regional exchange for the entire East African market. And the principal shareholders are Mr. Lumelu, Nigerian, Ambassador Jendai Fraser. From 50 Ventures, Mr. Lumelu is the chairman of AS Holdings. Then Nicholas Begren, who is the chairman, and for Begren Holdings, an investment-based firm out of New York. Then you have Ngali Holdings, who is also an investor out of Rwanda. So 2 African institutions and 2 American institutions are the holders of the business.
Okay. How do you involve the agricultural sector in all of this, the trading, financing and all?
It's a very interesting, that's one of the very unique things about the business model. So you're trying to build an institution that connects, has a vision to connect 1 million farmers with formal markets. So if you look at the sheer size, and it's not a service based, it is products that will be moved. We will be a derivatives market, but primarily we are focused and will remain a spot market as well, even when we grow into the derivatives market. So which means that if we are doing 2 million metric tons, 2 million metric tons of products would move from point A to point B, which is from seller to buyer. It means that you have to create a system that is very robust, leverages on very high-end technology, to make these transactions able. Otherwise, you have too many people, and they're prone to challenges.
For those involved in agriculture that come to you, how do you engage them? How do you go about your services with them?
It is it's very easy now. Being a Commodities Exchange, there are membership requirements that you have to set up as required by the Securities and Exchange Commission and the regulator. But now we've made the barrier to entry very low, so a farmer can easily access and participate through a warehouse. So a warehouse operates, if you liken it to the banking sector, you have the bank's branches, and then you have the ATM terminals, and then you have the mobile channels. So the farmer could walk into a warehouse and get his served. So this whole complex myriad of financial transactions, settlements, clearing, and innovation and all that, the farmer doesn't have to be involved in all that process. He comes to the warehouse, fills a teller, and the transaction is consummated.
Okay, with all of this, I see there are a lot of benefits that your office has. A lot of benefits the agricultural sector tends to get.
Yes.
But can you elaborate more on that? Besides the mobile and other channels, what particular benefits does the agricultural sector at large will benefit? What are those?
To understand the importance of the Commodities Exchange in the agricultural value chain, you need to cast your mind back to the history of the country into the 70s and the 80s, where agriculture was the mainstream of the economy and built all our universities, all our bridges, and almost most of the airports as well. And it was very focused on the premises that there was an entity that interfaced with the markets, knew what the market wants today, knew what the market will want in the future, created a fair transaction, and that entity also on the other side interfaced with production and the producers, and that entity was the marketing board that was defunct in the mid-80s.
With all of these challenges, what particular control measures have you put in place to cope with it moving forward, to avoid too much pressure and stress on you?
We are, for exchange rate, for instance, we're starting our export portfolio this year, and we won't be exporters. As a regulator, we're not market operators. But what we will do is to create a structure where exporters of whatever size can work with that structure, get the products from the channels, the interlands, have a strong structured trade finance solution that can finance those transactions, and then they will be competitive to play in the international markets. We could also have a window where the international buyers could buy directly from local exporters, people that are smaller and can't go through that whole export process by themselves. So depending on how the market directs, we're going to create a solution for the export sector, and we're working closely with institutions like NIGERIAN, NISAL. NISAL is the CBN fully owned subsidiary that de-risks lending to agricultural sector. NIGERIAN handles the export and import for the country. The Securities and Exchange Commission is very, very supportive of this, and putting all their weight behind making Nigeria have a strong and viral commodities exchange. The Minister of Agriculture, Minister of Trade and Investment are all very keen to make this work, because it solves a huge part of their challenge. So we're very close to the government actors. We increasingly work with all the private sector players on the market. We are price neutral. We don't buy and sell at a price. So it puts us in a very, very good position to work with other partners, because they come into the market, they take a position, and then they enjoy the price swing. But we have the neutrality of not being a trader. So by regulation, I can't buy commodities and then sell at a different price. The buy and sell price for all transactions through the exchange is the same, and I charge my fee for that. So.
What's your final advice, your final word for people out there with regards to agriculture?
I think on a final note, I think there is a lot of room for youth in agriculture to come into this sector, see it as a business. We have a very, very strong association of agriculture to farming, primary production, or animal husbandry, or the hideous task of cultivation. I think it's way more than that. There's so much more that can be done, and we need to have more bright young talents that have very long-term position. It's tough, what is rewarding.
All right, people, you've heard it all. It's a wonderful time. We've heard a lot about it. Thank you very much, Mr. Ayodeji Balogun.
Thank you.
I really learned a lot. I hope you did too. Yes, agriculture is tasking, it's stressful, but let's get into it. Let's not just talk the talk, let's work the talk. Thank you very much. I'm Rukewa Ekewenu, and it's been talk time.
Erisco, Nagiko, Rigiko, Tomato.
It is said that health is wealth. Therefore, for healthy and nutritious tomato, for fresh Nigerian tomato paste, don't look too far. Erisco, Rigiko, and Nagiko provides you with well-processed, nutritious, and healthy tomato paste. Get great value for your money. Buy made in Nigeria tomato processed under hygienic conditions. Erisco, Rigiko, and Nagiko are endorsed by the Nutrition Society of Nigeria. Erisco, tomato at its best. Our celebrity segment features a young Indian agripreneur born in Nigeria and whose zeal to transform the agricultural sector is stronger than you can imagine. Tushar Athiramani is a mixologist with a difference. He is interested in going into agriculture. Let's hear his story.
My name is Tushar Hathiramani. I'm Indian by birth, but I've called Nigeria home for my entire life. I recently moved back here after studying in the States for 5 years, and I now find myself at knocking on agriculture's door, really, yeah. Well, to start with, I think having lived here my entire life, I really like to think of myself as a Nigerian, even though I don't hold a passport. And I want to add value to this country that I call home. And then second of all, I really think that you can't help but ignore the enormous population and the fact that they lack goods and services that other countries have. So it's about adding value, and it's this huge wealth of population that gives you a chance to do something and to be an entrepreneur over here. Sure. So my education was primarily politics, so not necessarily related to agriculture. But then when I moved back, I found myself working in the agricultural sector, working in a company that dealt with processing, dealt with commodity trading and exports as well. And I found myself in that environment. And so that's how I really started getting into agriculture. I say go for it. I think that that's really what Nigeria is lacking at the moment. It's about getting people together to discuss these policies and come up with real solutions to aid the agricultural sector. Yeah. From my perspective, I don't think so. I think government really hasn't come up with sound policy, at least from the youth's perspective. That's my perspective. I think that they can do a lot more to help. No, and there's a caveat to that statement. I think Nigeria needs to stand on agriculture in addition to other things. The primary thing to take from this is that the economy in Nigeria needs to diversify. So in terms of agriculture, and especially when you're talking about a country that has a large workforce that's not as educated, it needs to a sector like agriculture, which can employ a lot of those people, is definitely positive and a step in the right direction. To begin with, I mean, if you're young and you feel like you're interested in agriculture and you don't have as much funding, for example, I'd say just go for it and start small. You know, even if it's growing some stuff in your garden, if it's basil or if it's cassava or if it's like yams, whatever it is, you know, just start and then realize that the potential that you can get from that just by selling to your neighbors, for example. I mean, that's where agriculture really needs to start. It's people saying that, hey, I can do this. It's not hard to do it, you know. And it's just gaining interest, learning what Nigerian agricultural policy is that's being disseminated at the moment, and it's just about learning from there, meeting key stakeholders. I think Agro Nigeria, for example, is the perfect place to start, really. It's a meeting of the mind, so definitely interact with them on their website, do stuff like that, and you slowly move up and up, you know.
The federal government has in recent times been urged by notable Nigerians to focus more on agriculture. We spoke to Nigerians on this view, and this is what they have to say.
I think they should improve on the agricultural, base of the country, but I don't think they should concentrate on that alone, because there are other things to take care of. They should balance everything so that we can move forward. We have a balanced, economy, a balanced society.
I believe in diversification. Of course, the whole sector is failing already, so the federal government can actually diversify to a lot of other sectors, education, agriculture, oil. They should mix it up. It shouldn't be only agriculture. Majorly before they have been on oil, only oil, which everything has now collapsed.
Make it Nigeria make a food do everywhere. Make do oil, make oil do everywhere. If you oil day, you go use small money, buy them. Money go remain for your pocket. You go use and do another something. No be say you go to carry your money, go buy oil plenty. Money no go there your pocket to buy food. Money no there.
I don't think the government should stay on agriculture alone. I think it should look at the oil, like the oil section. Yeah, the oil section. So I don't think the government should be based on agriculture alone.
To me, what we really need for now in Nigeria is agriculture. Apart from feeding our people, it can generate more revenue than the oil you are talking about. Because the whole world right now need food, and it's very, very essential, because if you don't feed your stomach, there's virtually nothing you can do. We can't just live only on agriculture. There are so many areas we can do it. There is agriculture, fine. Agriculture is okay. What about mineral? Then oil and gas. There are so many sectors they should deal on, not just on agriculture.
If we look at it in the olden days, agriculture is the most tedious work people are facing during that time, and it helps us. Even we have sufficient food around that time period. But today, look at it today, no more agriculture.
We sure did justice to feeding you today, right? Well, we've got more where all of that came from. Do join us again same time next week for another insightful and fruitful package. Feel free to share your views and opinions and suggestions on our various social media platforms displayed on your screen. On Facebook at Agro Nigeria, YouTube Agro Nigeria, or Twitter Agro Nigeria. Or you could check out our website at agronigeria.com.ng or send an email to contactagro@gmail.com. Until next week, I remain your host, Rukewa Ekewenu. Think growth, think agriculture. Bye for now.